Film Club. What, this is you got the Jurassic World film, Kingdom.
And thank you very much for joining us in an episode of Film Club. I'm one of your host, Andy Harrison. To my right, as always, it's the inquisitive Andy Dalton.
Trivia.
Every single week in Film Club, Andy, we invite these guys at home along to watch a film with us. We dive into some of Cinema's best by coming back here to talk it out. Andy.
Yep.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good, I'm good. It's a little warm in here. A little warmer than normal, but I'll get through. What have we been watching this week?
A monster. What? A monster calls.
Monster Calls. What is a Monster Calls all about?
A kid who's dealing with a situation in his family where his mum's ill, and she's trying different sorts of medication, and he's struggling to get through it. And he imagines a big monster made of a tree come over, and the monster tells him 3 stories, all of which have different kind of morals about them, different endings and different things to take from them. They're a bit unorthodox compared to most fables and stuff like that. Kid deals with his own demons in real life with bullies and his dislike for his grandmother, and is also the fact that his mother is slowly dying because the medication's not working. In the end, we find out that this monster is trying to help him and not his mother, how he originally thinks it, and this monster helps him deal with his own grief. And his mother unfortunately passes.
Just want to highlight, this was brought to us by a third Andrew via Twitter. Thank you very much for the recommendation. Andy, what did you think of Monster Calls?
I think I love a good fucking fantasy film. Oh, let me phrase that. Doesn't really sound like a good fucking fantasy film.
Is that like a fantasy fuck?
I love a fantasy film where it's stuff like this, where it's really imaginative. The only one I didn't think was Wild Things Are was a bit, but stuff like those films I normally really, really enjoy, where you can see the creation, in the director's eyes, or I don't know if it is based off a book or just a real story.
It's based off a book.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the guy or girl, I can't remember what the gender is, wrote the book, also wrote the screenplay.
Even better then. But then you can see this thing come to life through their vision and stuff like that. And obviously Liam Neeson voiced it as well. And see this yew tree with all its roots, and see the embers inside when he gets angry, and just everything about it and the dreams. I mean, fuck me, the way that those dreams are done. The story, sorry, with the king and his wife and stuff like that, and the other ones as well.
It's a lovely use of animation in the film.
The animation's beautiful as well. It
really
is
nice.
So all that to come together, and it makes this really lovely film, which is. Some films can use subjects such as a family member dying, especially cancer. That's can be overused in many other ways.
It's like the cliche, isn't it?
Fault in the Stars, fuck off, right? But if you do it somewhat really well, and I think this does, because it deals with such a sensitive situation in such an unorthodox manner, which is by using a fantasy, by using dealing with grief in the form of a monster. When in fact it's not for me, it's not the tree that's a monster. It's obviously the elephant in the room, which is the cancer, his mother dying.
Could you please not call him a monster? It finds very, very, very offensive. He will be hurt
Does he
by
have a
those
name?
Statements. Yes, he has a name. It's Liam Treason. Please get with the program.
You've been thinking about it all fucking week.
I planned that a week ago.
Oh God, that's awful. What do you think?
I'm totally surprised by this. As I sent you last week, saw the trailer for this film well before obviously it came out. Never took any sort of interest to it, and then our recommendation came up this week, and I was trepidatious.
Yeah, you were. You're like, I don't know, Andy. I
do not sound like a whiny white girl. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but you're not huge on. Well, you didn't know it was animation, but you didn't seem huge in it.
No, I wasn't, and
I was just like, come on, whenever our recommendations ever been
totally surprised by this. Totally surprised by this. This is yet again our audience giving us an absolutely brilliant recommendation. Yep. Which I don't think our audience has let us down yet with a recommendation. This was surprisingly good, surprisingly mature in the themes that it dealt with.
Yep.
It's what I want to call, and I mean this in every way, it's an excellent kids film.
Yeah, I agree. Some great kids films out there that I absolutely adore. I think this is where you go for the whole fantasy thing. One that we're going to plan to do next week, which is actually a bit more of an adult film. But my point is, there's some really good kids films out there. I mean, Christ, when we did Fantastic Mr. Fox, that could have been seen as a lot of people a kids film, but it's a very...
I wouldn't call Fantastic Mr. Fox a kids film.
All right, fair play. It's probably because it's, what's his name?
Wes Anderson.
Yeah. So fair play.
You still need to see Isle of Dogs.
I do need to see Isle of Dogs.
So good.
But all right, okay. Here's one. Again, that could be not seen as a kids' film.
I mean, in some ways,
I love kids' fantasy. Put that way.
There was a period where Spielberg was making his whole career off of kids' films. Like Hook is a kids' film.
That's like a great film.
It's a really great film, and I think this is another example of a really great, excellent kids' film. This is like, you know, when kids grow up and you have like certain films.
Kubo and the Two Strings is a very good fantasy film.
Fantasy. I didn't think it was a kids' film. I haven't seen it yet, but
it tailors to kids, but there's some really good. It's a bit.
We should do that in the film club because like that looks so cool. What was I saying?
Sorry.
It's all right.
Hook, stuff like that. So Spielberg.
Hook, this is another example. Yeah, so kids often have films in their memory, and like you'll have it, I have it. Like certain films stick out in your memory, and like you go back to them, and sometimes you go, "Oh, it's really not very good." Like recently, I went back and rewatched it. It was on Netflix. I tried to rewatch the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh. That is terrible.
Is it?
I couldn't get through it at all.
Really?
But this is a sort of film where a kid's going to watch it, really love it, and then years later, when they go back to it as an adult, they're going to go, "Wow, that's great. That's a really solid, really good influence on children." It helps them deal with the idea of loss. It helps them deal with the idea of like modern families. It helps them deal with the idea of like loneliness and not fitting in.
Oh, yeah, I never thought about the modern family element of it.
It's wonderful. Yeah. But the reason I call it an excellent kids film, it still has a big talking tree in it. And like he fits the story, but the script sometimes does that kind of kid thing of like explaining lots of stuff. But like that's its audience. But it fits the audience so well and it treats them so maturely. It's brilliant.
It doesn't dumb them down, does it?
Not at all. Not at all. I love that moment. There was a moment where the beginning of this film, I wasn't totally on board. And as it went on, I got more and more on board, got better and better. And there was a moment where I thought it was going to lose me. And it's when the tree is shouting at him. And Liam Neeson's going, "Tell me your truth." And he's going, "No, tell me your truth, no." And he eventually gets him to say it. And I was expecting him to go, "I'm scared my mum's going to die." And that would be cliche kids film dialogue.
Yep.
Instead, this goes a level higher.
Yep.
And he says, "I just want it to be over."
Yep.
And that's
very mature. That's
very mature. So good.
You never see that kind of thing.
The writer.
That's what I mean. So when it deals with the subjects of sorrows, illness, terminal illness, cancer, stuff like that, that's not the kind of thing that you expect them to go on at. They normally tread water. It's just like, "Oh, but I want to be able to do this," and might not be around, when in fact it's someone else that's not going to be around and stuff like that. Fuck off. Fault in the Stars. I'm sorry. Don't fucking watch that film. I don't care how to spoil it. Fucking don't watch it.
And then they do that lovely little thing at the end where suddenly all the elements connect, and you get the tree turns out to be her friend. She can see the tree. Turns out the stories.
I was hoping that would be the case. Yeah.
And just everything suddenly goes. All that stuff felt a little random. Suddenly goes.
I love the nod as well. How obviously she goes about her grandfather. This is what I got from it. The grandfather. And obviously the grandmother's she's a bit sharp and stuff like that. She's probably gone through grief herself and her own things. She's losing a daughter just like she's lost her husband, or whether, because her grandfather's not there. If you look through the photo albums, I don't know if you realise, but it's Liam Neeson is the grandfather.
Yes, yeah.
And I
Liam Neeson.
I like the idea that maybe the whole tree and this
Liam Neeson.
Monster was...
sorry, not Monster, Liam Neeson.
Also helped his mother out with her grief. By the way, Felicity Jones, oh my God, I was devastated to see her pass away and die and stuff, because Christ, I really like Felicity Jones. She does everything really well. She plays a really good sick person.
Weirdly, this came out the same year as
Theory
Star
of
Wars.
Everything. Oh, was it Star Wars?
Yeah. So she's in like Rogue One, and suddenly she's in this.
She did fantastically well.
Very
good point. There was a couple of parts where Sigourney Weaver plays a grandmother. Right?
Thank you. What is with her dialogue delivery in this film?
Yeah, there was one part where she goes, she's in the car going over and she's stressed, it's just them two, and I can't remember what she says, she goes, "Oh dear," like this, in a proper weird English accent. I was just like, nah. So accent wise, yeah, but she does play her role well.
Wait, when she's acting, like when she's watching the TV or when she's breaking down the car,
and even though
stuff,
the makeup team's fucking amazing, what they've done to her face and the transition of like start to end when her daughter's going through this, you can see all the she's lost life.
Her actual performance, and her emoting is great. Her dialogue delivery it's some of the worst I've ever seen her do.
Yeah, I was just like, come on, I was just thinking you've gone from Alien to this, Christ. maybe not the coolest thing. It's always a tough thing trying to get someone to. Here's another one for you. Trying to get another one, an actor from a different continent or a country to do a different accent. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Dexter doing that safe. People had issues. You know that TV series on Netflix.
Yeah.
Wouldn't watch that either. Wouldn't watch that. But I don't think there's nothing amazing wrong with his accent. At times it a bit thing, and the Brummies, because I think it's Birmingham, isn't it? So the Brummies down there will be like, his colloquialism is all wrong, but it's not too bad. Sigourney Weaver, I'm not an accent expert, but come on.
Speaking of colloquialism and localization, chunks of this film shot around Yorkshire and Blackpool.
Excellent.
Just thought I'd throw that in there because it's a nice little nod to
the north.
Us guys up north.
What I do want to go on about is I really enjoyed the kid in this. I enjoyed
he's really good.
Because I know you've got issues with child acting before, and like they're being a bit too whiny.
We can't call it issues with child acting. Yeah, like normally kids in films are often terrible. This guy has so much work to do.
Very much so, and he does
emotional,
it really
well.
His emotional acting is fucking incredible. The way he does that, the way he corresponds to the stories told, and whether it's like the animations, his voice is going over, like it's really well voice acted, or just these actual impressions, like when he's in the classroom, he's writing down, and then his interactions with the bully, which was a bit cliche with the bully, by the way.
Yeah,
but that again, it's a kids' film, so that's kind of like they take that there. I thought he did really well.
He does amazing. Like he has such heavy lifting he has to do. Like he's got to do some really emotional stuff, and he's got to deal with some really big sort of problems. He's got to portray that in quite small ways sometimes. He's fantastic. There's only the odd scene where I was a bit knocked by him. It's like when Liam Treeson's shouting at him and he's shouting back.
Yeah.
And he keeps shouting at Liam Treeson. And I can forgive it more as it felt more the director's choice than his choice.
I was going to say it's more like a director's kind of thing. You know, I keep saying that word.
Yeah.
But Liam, go on.
No, I was just going to say it's a great performance in a film which has no right being as good as it should be, and it's all got this weird sort of. It's got a little bit of like a Pan's Labyrinth feel. It's got a little bit of like a Christmas Carol feeling about it.
It does, yeah, with the 3 stories and stuff like this. I'll come back. I said it's a mixture of someone and a Groot, but I can't remember who the first person was. It's a mixture of. I text our girlfriend.
Is it Qui-Gon Jinn?
Qui-Gon Jinn and Groot, no. But Liam Neeson, let's just quickly go on about him.
Giant.
He's it could have been, yeah. His voice acting this was really well played. Oh, that's it. It's Treebeard, of course. Treebeard and Groot. So the way he breathes in his voice to speak and goes, like that.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of Treebeard and Lord of the Rings. For those who don't know what Treebeard is, if you don't, fuck me, what are you watching Film Club for?
Yeah, go watch Lord of the Rings like right now.
Yeah, like seriously, but I assume everyone else has. If they haven't, then just... Treebeard and Groot, in the sense it's like Groot kind of like buddy.
Yeah.
And Treebeard is kind of everything about Treebeard. A bit more angrier Treebeard. That made no sense.
Maybe Treebeard was always searingly angry underneath.
Oh God, you are awful today. You are awful, man.
I'm wonderful today. Hi, everybody.
Oh, fuck. And it was really well. I don't think they abused it with the CGI and everything like that. I didn't take much of the music.
There's a little bit of CGI abuse.
All right.
I could do with not seeing that church fall down 4 times.
Oh, you mean that scene with his nightmare?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair play. I didn't take much of the music. And there's some really exceptionally good silent bits.
Yep. Yeah,
and like when his mother does go, and it's just silent. It's just that angle down there. A fucking great shot that was. What a fucking great scene.
I really appreciate the color palette used because like often in kids films they shy away from the subject matter and instead make it like bright and colorful and fun. Even though it's quite a dark story.
And blue, wasn't it?
This is dark and blue. It's grim and it doesn't feel happy.
Yeah.
A surprising film. Very happy. Thank you so much for the recommendation. There was a Monster Calls. You can let us know in the comments below what you thought of Monster Calls, or if you also have a recommendation, don't let us down because we are on one hell of a streak with recommendations. You can hit us on Twitter as always, or in the comments below. Andy, next week
you actually mentioned it there, and it's a film that really helped me solidify my love for fantasy films, and again deals with mature themes, and is a very mature film. It's our last one of this film club year because the one after we have a special one for you, and we're going to finish off this film club year with Pan's Labyrinth because it is fucking insane.
Guillermo del Toro.
Or Guillermo, as I call him.
Guillermo del Toro. Thank you very much for watching, guys. See you back here next week for Pan's Labyrinth.